afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and nature lovers around the world, and welcome to the Sunset Safari, where we are joined straight away by a female warthog and her look at us. I'm giving them plenty of space and distance because they tend to be skittish animals. We don't often really get to sit and observe their behavior properly. Tails whipping around. And I know I've told this story before, but my younger brother is absolutely terrified of warthogs due to childhood trauma, where he was thrown into the air by a warthog that was staying at the resort that we were staying at. Those of you who don't know, my name is Jamie. I have the wildebeest on camera with me this afternoon. James will be out a little bit later with Brian on the back. Of course, we always have Hayden in the tent and Andrew flying the drone around, and then Brent out walking, our trackers out tracking. It really is an exciting afternoon planned. Our warthogs are still with us, so I'm going to stick with them for a while. But for those of you who are joining us for the first time, this is a live safari. So it means that everything you're seeing is happening right here on Djuma and Arathusa game reserves in the Sabi Sands, South Africa. And we're also interactive. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, say for example about these wonderful porcine creatures that we're seeing at the moment, you can send those through to #SafariLive on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@wildearth.tv. And we'd love to hear from you, especially, well, not especially, but definitely from new viewers. We'd love to know if you're watching, and if you want to know any facts about them. If you don't know anything about them, don't feel shy, let us know. Always keen to hear from you and where you're from in the world. And in case you're hearing the constant rattle, that is the water pump that provides water to both the Djuma Lodge as well as the rest of the reserve. So that's the pump busy going, putting water out of the borehole, interrupting what is otherwise a very peaceful afternoon. It is 28 degrees centigrade, theoretically, which is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Sitting in the sun, I think I have to disagree with that. I think it's a little bit hotter. Luckily, we've got a bit of a breeze to cool us down. I know that you guys were treated to, or I believe you were treated to, an incredible sighting this morning. The Shumungwe Pride, incredibly hungry, definitely in need of some food, and 3 sub-adult lions with a fascinating story to tell. We're going to have to wait a little while before we head back across to them. For now, I'm going to go across to Arathusa because I haven't been there in ages. And I want to see what else I can find. Get some updates from that side of the world. I say that side of the world, it's about 4 kilometers away. It's about 2 miles. So it's not exactly a stretch. Just a reminder, of course, although I think most of our regular viewers will know, that we are seriously amping up for Big Cat Week, which will be lots and lots of work and rehearsing from every single part or every single member of our team, pulling together to a story that I feel like I should share. Liam found a camera when he was out filming for Peter Pretorius this morning, and he had a look at the code that was on it to try and figure out if we could work out where it came from. Obviously it's been announced on the radio. We checked with all of the other guides to make sure that a guest hadn't lost it, and he had a look at the pictures. The last picture was from September 2012. And he also says that there's a picture of a lion that he thinks might be junior at a very, very young age. Incredible stuff. now that we've got to lambing birthing season, stop there, let them relax a little bit. Now that we've got to lambing birthing season, we're actually seeing the return of that harem structure that we see during the rutting season, and it's because there's a huge spike in estrus. Oh. To sing now, so this would be a bingo item for those of you playing along. This is just a practice run, so we're mentioning all the items that you can see. In fact, I think I see another one. I believe a marula tree is also on the bingo list. So there you go. And essentially it works just like your normal game of bingo. You can find all of the details on the Nat Geo Wild website. And we'll be sneaking a couple of words in as well. Some things we'll tell you when it's a bingo item, some things we won't. And there'll be secret words that I'm suggesting that you don't listen, obviously. Hey gentlemen, I'm still trying to make it my mission in the times that I am driving to try and catch an impala bird on TV or live TV. I think that would be probably one of the most magical moments to actually be able to share with you all. Something that is such a, what's the word I'm looking for? A key moment in every year. It's that perfect, it's like the woodlands kingfishers coming back. It marks the point in the season that we enjoy, and it also tells us a lot about the weather. The impala seem to have a far better handle on what's going to happen in terms of rain and the seasons. It's very bright. Guys, all of this preparation for Big Cat Week and all of the stuff we have to get ready, we're making sure that we bring you the best possible safari experience. What that does mean is that although we'll be operating as normal for our afternoon shows, it means that our sunrise is 6 a.m. Central African time. So we're cutting short the last 2 hours. It is crucial preparation time for us all, and we really appreciate you guys being as supportive as you have been. And I promise you that it will let's find out. Everything should be hiding away in the shade. Keep your eyes peeled. I know that Karula is somewhere wandering around here. I heard her calling last night, at least I suspect it's Karula. Most likely her, just because it was right outside Ingers, which is where we live. And it's the center of her, pretty much the center of her territory. She must be here somewhere. Of course, the wonder of Big Cat Week and all of our Nat Geo Wild shows is that we get the additional expertise of two incredible trackers. No, that's not going to stop. I spotted a greater spotted cuckoo, but it's flying on a mission. I don't think we're going to be able to stop and see it. And it's amazing how of days like this and already most of the groundwater has started to disappear. As soon as the sun comes out with a little bit of wind, that evaporation takes away most of the moisture that is around us. Just hiding away. Oh. And the minute they realize that playing hard to spot hasn't worked, they tend to duck away and move into thicker patches of undergrowth while we try to shift around to have a look at him. I know that Dee Wilson and many others, you were saying that you're very keen to see a picture of young Junior. Well, we'll have to see if we can arrange that. We'll have a look. Oh, sorry, little boy. I came around the corner and he was standing in the road. Small in stature myself, I think I quite easily identify with him. We're on to the southern boundary of Djuma, and directly to the west of us is Arathusa, and we're seeing some amazing lion movements happening at the moment. Obviously the Birmingham boys have kind of spread themselves out all the way along here and then up into Torchwood. A couple of them seem to be mating. There's one at least that is mating with the lioness we suspect is a Styx female. Then there is one unknown male in Buffelshoek, and he's not one of the Birmingham boys. We're still trying to work out who he is. We haven't seen him ourselves, obviously, because that's outside of our traverse zone. But he is, I suspect, he's not one of the Salatis, and he's not one of the Birmingham. And I think that with all of this disruption, I think it's actually what's really put so much pressure on that poor Shimungwe group. What did you spot, sorry? Oh, is there a cuckoo there? I was busy looking at the steenbok, my bad. Is he gone? Oh, now he's gone. Oh, Vim's let's try and get this. Oh, he's stopped somewhere. The drongo was mobbing him. Let's just see if I can spot him. Don't see him anywhere. The drongo chased him away. Now, of course, with all cuckoo species, they get mobbed by the other smaller passerines, the other smaller birds, and that's because those birds know that cuckoos are going to parasitize their nests, and that's what they're aiming to do. Now, in that case, it looked like a greater spotted cuckoo, but it could have been a red-chested cuckoo. It was difficult to tell flying at high speed. I'm sorry, it does parasitize drongos. That would explain why the drongo, as a fierce little bird, and they can be incredibly fierce, we've seen them mobbing harrier hawks and other big birds of prey before. That explains why it was frantically chasing them away. nobody really entirely knows exactly how it was that they came to be evolved to parasitize other birds. This is another one. They're all on the move though. None of them want to really sit down nicely and be on camera. I guess they're feeling a little bit shy. Alright, well, my first time back into Arathusa for a very long time. Let's see what we can find around here. Milestone, apart from the births of the impala and the wildebeest calves, is going to be the fruiting of the marula trees. That's going to be in the next 2 months or so. I've already seen a couple of raw check the Game Drive channel. One of the reasons that I am on separate piece, separate rate. Copy that, thank you. Have come back somewhere in this direction. Last time we saw her, she was right on the fringes of her territory, on the border that she shares with her mother, on that western edge of Djuma up by Sandy Patch Road. I wonder if she hasn't started looping back around in this direction. She's just finished mating with Tingana. She's just finished mating with Tingana, and I suspect that is where that limp thing, I don't think it was too serious. It looked to me more to be her right front paw. But I'll try and find out from the other side. Sorry. I was fooled by perfectly into what looked like a lion track. All 4 feet of the scrub hair had sort of together. I'm going to struggle to be able to show it to you because it's in the shade, but they grouped them together like the 4 toes of a lion paw print. Very interesting coming back to Arathusa now to have a look at the distribution of the general game species. It is incredibly quiet out here, and it makes you wonder about, at the moment, the quality of the grasses, grass types which are dependent on your soil types and your rainfall. That determines what animals you're going to see. And we've noticed both on Djuma and on Arathusa this gradual drop in both zebra and wildebeest sighting. It's all to do with moving across down sort of to the southern areas and to the gabbro soils where the grass is slightly more nutritious at this time of year. Right, well, we shall end off our enthralling discussion about the different types of grass out here and head across to Mr. James Henry, who is up and about and wanting to say hello.
Hello, everybody. We are now, obviously, you're not looking at my face, so I'm staring blankly at the camera for no reason. You're watching us from the air. Drone Commander Andrew Francis is following us as we drive around quarantine clearings on this hot and rather beautiful. And we're going to be doing a little trip to Buffelshoek, and we'll see what's over there. Thereafter, we'll probably head off to Arathusa and see what's going on there. So you're most welcome, of course, and sorry for our late start. We had that's wonderful English. We had a few problems with our radios, but they're now up and running. I have the sultry tones of Tara Dales in my ear at full volume, and so I will follow all instructions to the letter as the afternoon carry on. Now, as you know, Jamie's told you, we are on a live safari, hashtag Safari Live, if you want to talk to us, or questions at wildearth.tv if you want to talk to us on the email. The other one, of course, is a Twitter handle, and you can see the extent of quarantine. And I noticed, I was sitting in the tent yesterday, of course, and I noticed how I've been in the tent for 3 days, and from 3 days ago to now, the rain that we've had has unquestionably created more greenness in the grass. My first time in the tent, when we were flying over quarantine, those wonderful pictures that you're getting now, it was very brown around under the green trees, and I just found of the grass here to this amazing green. And also, I mean, that drone shot gives you an amazing perspective of how sparse some of the vegetation is. I mean, from when we're looking at it around here now, and we might go back to the drone if it's still up, you look around here, it looks verdant green. And now I want you to compare that with what you can see now on the drone. You can see that the grass is not a sort of thick carpet of grazing material, and that's because of the dry season we had last year, the pressure that was put on clearings, and the lack of rain that helped the grass sward replenish itself. So we're going to carry on now, and also wonderful to try and spot a couple of animals from the air, and if you spot any, please, well, I don't suppose shouting will help from where you're. But it would be very helpful. It's always helpful to see things from the air. Very useful indeed. And another great way to spot animals out here. So we're heading up to a junction. You can probably see it. We're on quarantine, the western edge of Weirtail axis. That's the main axis is road. That's the junction we're coming to now. We're going to turn left onto that. And then we're going to turn almost immediately right onto a road called Gallagher Shortcut. That will lead us down up towards the Buffelshoek line out there that are drinking. Hopefully a couple of birds. We've seen two lovely birds there, and they're not really very exciting if you're not a twitcher or an ornithologist. A wood sandpiper once and a green shank yesterday. Both birds that have migrated from huge distances in Eurasia, and they've come out here to Buffelshoek Dam. Perhaps not the best choice at this time of year, but still we love having them here. They're not, like I say, great brightly coloured parrots or impressively clawed raptors, but just amazing little birds like that have flown thousands and thousands of miles to come and enjoy the summer with us, and it's just such a privilege to have them here with us. Beautiful afternoon. I would say it's probably about 32 or 33 degrees Celsius, and that will put the temperature around about Celsius. That's beastly hot. That is in the realm of lying in a pool of lava. And then hopefully, come the weekend, we'll have another thunderstorm or two, which would just be very special. Not ideal for broadcasting, of course, the rain, but it is so wonderful. When those big thunderheads come rolling in out of the west, I have to tell you, the feeling I get is one of complete awe and wonderment, and I just absolutely love it. Now, I'm sure some of you would have been watching this morning when we had to, unfortunately for you, go to our rehearsals. And just to keep you posted, you didn't miss a huge amount in terms of animals. We had some very nice lion interaction. There's 3 Shimungwe lions, 2 females and 1 male that came onto the reserve last night, and they arrived at the hyena den. And in fact, before we go to Buffelshoek Dam, I think we're on the right road, so we'll just pop into the hyena den and see if they aren't there. The hyenas, I mean. It was the most astonishing sight. We were sitting watching the hyenas. Some of you would have seen this, and the lions just arrived. And the hyenas scarpered all over the place. The very little one went back into the hole. The 6-month-old went back into the hole, and they disappeared completely. And then the hyena kind of surrounded these 3 scraggly sub-adult lions. And eventually, one of them actually gave one of the lions a nip on the bottom. She turned around and growled, and then they all ran away again. And then eventually the lions moved off in that sort of direction there. They're probably still on the property, and we'll go and have a look at them a little bit later to see what they've been up to. I'm 99% sure that they will have been up to absolutely nothing at all, given that is what lions like to do in the middle of a hot day like we've had. Experience. So, about 7 adults that we're here today. Ariel. We're going to stop for about 5 minutes and just see if nothing happens. And I want to tell you something about what happens with lions when hyenas arrive. So, this is where we were sitting earlier today. When the lions arrived, and they arrived from just behind where your picture is now, and the hole that you can see there, the hyenas disappeared into, and that's probably where the youngster is now. And what we found out yesterday from some interesting papers that Steph managed to get hold of was that when lions are around, the hyenas will, until they're sure that the lions are not around. Those 3 sub-adult lions are some impala there. That's not what made that noise. There's some elephants just up towards the cut line there, and we'll head up towards there now. Sounds like they're on the Buffelshoek cut line. But so the lions, those 3 sub-adult lions, are not a huge threat. Well, they are. They're bigger than hyena, but for a clan of, say, 8 hyena, well, there were 8 around here at the time, those 3 sub-adult lions are pretty evenly matched, especially given how scraggy and sort of, not injured, but certainly beaten up the young male was. Anyway, my dulcet voice is not bringing the youngster out of its hole, so I think we're going to carry on towards Buffelshoek Dam and see what we can find there. Possibly those elephants on the way. I can just show you the nyala that are hanging around here, which is indicative of the fact that the hyena are just not here. The adults have moved off, and I think probably in an attempt to sort of distract the lions, lure them away from where the youngster might be. So that's what's going on here. Wonderful afternoon. Okay, so while we're getting out of this particular place, let's go across to... I'm actually quite jealous of you now. You're going to see Brent Lear Smith. He's got quite an interesting piece of bush ecology with him, but how... Cut line.
we're here with, which is probably a leadwood stump, and it's been smoothed incredibly. And there's quite a few clues which has been done by a buffalo, and quite useful if you're a buffalo. You go coat yourself in mud. And you find a convenient low, not too sharp branch like this, and then you rub on it. And I think James is asking for me to demonstrate how a buffalo rubs. I shall do that shortly. But I always check very carefully around these things. Quite often you'll actually find dead ticks around the base, unfortunate little bits of soil. Sometimes you find ticks encased in it. So very, really fascinating. And there are some mud wallows around here. You quite often find these very well-used rubbing posts around mud wallows. So the buffalo use them extensively. So just to keep James happy, and why I'm not sure, I shall demonstrate how a buffalo might want to use this. Obviously, I'm bipedal. A buffalo is not. It's a quadruped on 4 legs. So here we go. So he would probably walk over it like this, and he doesn't have hands to scratch, and he would just get there and he'd rub his belly on it, and under his belly, and he'd rub his belly on it, and under his arm, and all over the place, just to be able to get to those hard to reach places. And here we go. That was a bit of exercise, and quite uncomfortable exercise, I do admit. But while we're in this area, before we disappear into the drainage system, my name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Jean-Ray on camera, and welcome to Safari Live's Bushwalk. So just over here, I noticed as we were walking a bit earlier, there's an incredible species of insect, and now we're going to challenge Jean-Ray's skills. So after rubbing my belly, I'm going to go find us a very interesting species of ant that occurs on these open sort of patches like this. It's called a pugnacious ant, and it is quite pugnacious. So when you walk near their holes, we'll see if we can get a long distance visual before I stand there, because I'm not going to stand there for too long, because they do bite quite painfully. And see what I do for you guys. We can see them there, and they scurry around at high speeds. Is actually, if you stand too long, like Jean-Ray is actually almost being, oh look, actually they're making a kill at the moment. So they're ferocious little hunters. Oh, they're everywhere. So here we go. I can't see what they've got there. I'm going to try getting a little bit closer, try to see what it is. Sorry about my shadow. I've got to be careful, otherwise I'll be there